in this course we will talk about creating a racing car game from scratch. We will create this car, steering, throttle, this map, the snowing map, the road you can see right here, and also something more important like player collision, which is very important for this kind of roads. So we will create some actor classes, and then we can spawn those actors on the road, and we can pick up, like when car reach there, we can pick up these actors. They will have some nice sound effect and Niagara effects. Hello, so by this time you know how to install Unreal Engine and how to use it, like very basics. So here we will start it from creating a blank project. So if I come here and open Unreal Engine, and here come to games, so I want to create a new project, and you can select a project location, then you can come here and select C++. Well, we will be using Blueprint mostly, but in some places, as I told you in the introduction, that we cannot use blueprints for that till now, so we have to use C++. So that's why this project would be based on C++. We want to write some C++ code in here as well. And then platform, desktop, and quality maximum. Started contents, well, I think we don't need started contents, and ray tracing we can leave it as it is. And then I'll come here and give it a name like car. Remember, you cannot have space, so car project, or maybe racing car is a good name for this. And then let's go and create it, and there we go. As you can see, we have Unreal Engine and Visual Studio, because you have to install Visual Studio while you're using C++ in Unreal Engine. So Visual Studio is already installed on my computer, and that's why we have Visual Studio right here and Unreal Engine right here. And if it is your first time, you may not see these steps right here. So this is the Unreal Engine you will see, and this is the blank or the default project we have in Unreal Engine. You can see right here, but this is not the one we are using, or we're using for our racing car project. That's why we need some more tools to use in this Unreal Engine project. For that, you have to open Epic Games Launcher. Well, as I told you, by this time you have to know about Epic Games Launcher, installing Unreal Engine and all that stuff. So you'll come to Marketplace, and from Marketplace we need to download some projects that we need to use in here. And then I'll come here and search for vehicle, let's say vehicle variety pack, and there we have it. Look at this, this is the car we want to use in this project. So I'll come here and tell him add to project. You can see Unreal Engine 5.3 supported, and we are using Unreal Engine 5.3. So I'll come here and find my project that's called racing car, but I think this is not the one I'm using right now. So this is the racing car project we are using. I'll select the project and I'll say add it to project, and there we go. So this is the car project, and we also need one map. I'll come here and add that map as well. So I'll come here and search for automotive. Okay, there we go, winter scene. This is the project we want to use, and as you can see, Unreal Engine 5.3 supported here as well. And I'll come here and tell him add to project, and there we go. I'll come and add this one to the same project as well. So after adding these two projects, we are good to go. But remember, you have to download them first and then add them. It's pretty simple. You can click on that and it will be downloaded automatically, but for you it will take a little time. For me it doesn't, because I already have downloaded them and I only need to add them to the project. That's it. I can close the Epic Games Launcher now, and if I come here to the project, come here, we will have these two. This is the winter scene we want to use as a map, and car is right here. So first I'll come here and open this map. So let's go and open this one, ice road. So there you can see it right here. This is the map we want to use it. And then, well, there is a problem. If I close this project and open it again, we will have that old map again, but that's not what we want. We want this map every time we open this project. So that's why I'll come here to the settings, and in maps and modes I can come here and select ice road here and ice road here as well. Now if we close the project and open it again, we won't have that problem. We will start it directly from this map. And the second thing is we want to use Unreal Engine Chaos Vehicles. So that's why Chaos Vehicles plugin is not enabled by default, and we have to enable it. So I'll come here to the plugins and I'll search for Chaos Vehicles. There you can see Chaos Vehicles plugin, and I'll click on this and I'll say yes, we want it, and then let's restart it now. So you have to wait a little bit, and then you will have Unreal Engine back. And there you go. As you can see, we have the same project, like this winter project. That's because we selected this project as the default project in settings, and every time you close this project and open it again, you will have this project. So to start it, I'll come here to the content drawer, and in contents I can come here and create a new folder from here, and I'll call it blueprints. So here we'll store all our blueprints, and then I'll right click and let's create a new blueprint class. So that would be based on not actor, not pawn, none of these. We have to come to all classes and search for weld vehicle pawn. There is one very important note that you have to know about it. If I come here, and from the last lecture you remember we activated a plugin called Chaos. Well, we have to write it like this, Chaos Vehicles. This is the plugin. You have to enable this plugin in order to have this class that I told you right now. So if you want to use this weld vehicle pawn, you have to activate that plugin, and then you can use this class as the base class of your new blueprint class. I'll select this one, and then I can give it a name like BP Racing Car. And there we go. Now if I open this class, look at this, we have it right here. So this class by default has this mesh. I can come here to mesh and select our car for that. So we have this sports class, sports car object. I can select that one, and you can see we have it right here. This was the one we imported in the last lecture from Epic Games Launcher, and now we have it right here. Now let's introduce some things into the car class. We need some wheels, and we need some other settings that we have to set up. So for that, I'll come here to vehicle movement component, and in movement component we have a lot of things that we have to set up. The first thing would be wheel setup. So we need to set up these wheels. If I come here, you can see we have some settings for wheels. So we need 4 wheels because this is a 4-wheeled car. You can use a motorcycle which has 2 wheels, or you can have some other cars which has more than 4 wheels. That's your choice. You can use anything you want. So for this car we have 4 wheels, so that's why we have to create 4 wheels like this. Now we have these 4 wheels, and then if I come here, the first thing is wheel class, bone name, and additional offset. Well, we don't need any offset or things, so these 2 are the important part of every class. So I mean wheel class. So first thing, bone names. Let's set up some bone names, and then we can set up the wheel class. So where do you get the bone names? You know that this is you can see skeletal mesh. So skeletal mesh, every skeletal mesh has its bone, like human characters, car characters, all of them has bones, or skeleton, and in skeleton there's bones. So if I come here, click on this, now you can see this is a skeletal mesh. If I open this skeletal mesh, here you can see we have bones. So these are the bones for every wheel. If I come here, if I rotate this, you can see the bone is working really well. So I'll select this one, and then you can rotate it like this, or you can rotate it like this. So now everything is pretty good. The first thing, I'll come here, the first wheel would be let's say wheel front left. So I'll come here and say copy selected bone names, and then I'll come back here. I can close this window, so I'll paste it right here, and then I can come to the second bone, the second class or second wheel, and then I can copy this name and paste it right here. The same thing we can do for third and fourth. So I'll come here, copy this one. This is the rear lift, so I'll paste it right here, rear left and rear right. There we go. So the next step would be about the classes. You can see we have wheel classes, and if I come here, by default we have this kiosk vehicle wheel, but we actually don't use this one. We need to create our own. So I'll come here and click on this create new blueprint class, and then I can select any place for that. Let's say I'll select this blueprints, and then I'll create a new folder for that, and I'll give it a name like car wheels. Remember, again, you cannot use spaces, so then I can give it a name like maybe BP kiosk vehicles wheel, and this is front wheels. So I'll save it, and then you can see we come directly to the wheel class, and here we can set up some settings. First thing, axle type. This is front wheel, and then we have this wheel radius and wheel width. So these are the things we have to directly get from the car. We need to measure the wheels. So for that, I can come to the main map and add this car to the map. And if I come here and select the top and change this one from lead to wireframe, and there you go. Now you can see we can actually measure these wheels. So if I come here and press the middle mouse button or the wheel, you can see in the mouse, now you can see I'll come here and measure it like this. Let's see, but it's not visible correctly. I'll measure it. Now you can see it's 60, and the other side is I think 30, something like that. If I come here, yep, it is 30. You can see right there, this is 10, this is 10, 20 and 30, like that. So that's how we can understand that 60 per 30. And if I come back to the blueprint class here, I can change this to 60 and change this one to 30. And there we go. So wheel mass, I think we don't need to change that one. And the next thing we want to change is, let's say, slip threshold. We don't need to change that one. Affected by brake, well, this is the front wheel. I don't think this should be affected by brake. And then affected by handbrake, yes, of course. Affected by engine, no, it's the front wheel. And the next thing we want to do is right here. So affected by steering, yes, front wheels are affected by steering, and we can change this to 45. I think that's all we need to set up for front wheel. I'll save this one, and then I can close it. So I'll come back to the component, and here this is the first one. The second one, this is the front wheel as well, so I can select the same front wheel class for this one as well. But for rear wheels, I have to create another blueprint class. I'll come here, and here I'll change the name to BP, short for blueprint, and this is rear, like this. Let's save it. And now the first thing, axle type is rear, and this is same as 60 by let's say 60 by 30. And then wheel mass, we don't need to change this one. Affected by brake, affected by handbrake, affected by engine, yes. And the next thing we want to change is affected by steering. Nope, this one is not affected by steering. So that's it. I think that's all settings we need to set up right here. I'll save everything, and then let's come to the car class again. So as you can see, I'm coming back to BP racing car, and I can close this one. I'll come here and select the rear blueprint for this one as well. I think everything is ready right here. So the next thing we want to set up from the vehicle component class is torque curve. So what is torque curve and how it works is not what we want to talk about, but we want to set up torque curve. So I'll come down here and find the torque curve. So it is in mechanical setup, and then we can come to engine setup, and here we have torque curve. So for torque curve, for now we don't have any class. We can come and create one for it. So I'll come here and create external curve. And so let's select the same folder, can create a new folder for curves, not like that, curves, and then I'll come here BP external curve. That's it. I'll save it, and then I can come here and open this one. So now, as you can see, this is the curve we want to set up. This is a torque curve, and we have to set up it. So the first thing, we can add some points just by clicking on the wheel or on the middle button of the mouse like this. You can add some points right here. So this is the first point. We can add another point at the end. I can change the values from here. Let's say this value can be from 0 to 0.5 like this, and we can add another point. I can change this value to something like 0.5, and this value I can change to something like 1260. These are the values I tried, I've checked, and they're working pretty well. I can add one more point right here. So we have 3 points or 4 points, so I can change this value as well. Let's say 0.9, and this value I can change to 3.447, and let's add one more point. That would be something like, so this value I can change to something like 5,000, and this value would be something like 0.5. There we go. This value needs to be changed. I think I haven't set it up correctly, so I can change this to something like 1260 and change this one to something, come on, this value is 1260, and this value can be like 0.9. And then I can come here and change this value as well. I have to select only one point, and I can change this from 1260 to 3.447, and I can change this to something like 0.675. There we go. So these are the values you have to set up. I use these values and they're working pretty good. If you change the values, you can check the car, but it will not work pretty well with this sports car. So these are the values you can see right here, 0.5, and this value can be like 1260 by 0.9, and this value can be something like 3.447 and 0.675, and the last value 5,000 and 0.5. So that's how the torque curve is made. Like the one I checked, it's working pretty good. That's all about this one. So now I can close the torque curve and everything would be great. You can change this max RPM to something like 5,000. So I'll change it to 5,000 from 4.2 because the maximum value right here was 5,000. If you come here, the maximum value here is 5,000. That's why I set this max RPM, and I set it up to 5,000. So I can close this one. Torque curve is also ready to be used. So now if I come here, well, this is a car mesh. I'll delete this one, and if I come here to the blueprints, here we have this racing car blueprint. I'll add this to the map. Now we have this one in the map, and everything looks pretty good. But the problem here is if I possess this, if you don't know what is possessing, I'll tell you very in short words. Possessing means like from which actor you want to start the game. If I don't possess this one and start the game, I mean if I play the game, so I'm not controlling the car. There is just a sphere that I'm controlling. Actually, you can see right here. So if I stop the game, that is destroyed. So what if I want to tell to the engine that if I want to start the game, it should start from this blueprint class? For that, I'll come to details. This blueprint should be selected, and then I'll come here and search for possess. I'll select this one as player 0. Now if I play the game, and wow, it started from that car, but I cannot do anything. I cannot look around, I cannot move around, and nothing is happening. Why is that? Because we don't have any camera, we don't have any input settings. For that, I'll stop this again and I'll come back to blueprints. I can create a new folder and then I'll call it input. And now let's create, the first thing we want to do is come to input and create input mapping context. So IMC, and this is, let's say, for racing car. There you go. I'll open this one. So we need some input settings. For what? First, we want to move forward and backward. Second, we want to go around like right and left. And the third one would be for looking around. So we need 3 inputs. I'll come here, come to input. We need input action this time. So this is input action like this. And I can give it a name like throttle. So that's throttle. I'll come here, open this one. So the value, what would be the value? If I come here, digital or bool value, you need 1x or float value, vector 2D or vector 3D. So we need a float value for moving, like for throttle, or moving forward and backward. We need a float value. So that is why I'll select float value for that. Now let's come again, and this time what I want to is to create another input action. So I'll come to input action, IA, like input action, and this would be for steering or like moving around right and left. So this is also the same float value. But you might ask that why do we need float value? Because float is like a single number, but we need a vector 2D because maybe you want to move it right or left. But yeah, you are right. But the thing here is moving right gives you the positive value, and moving left, it gives you the negative value. Means if the value is negative, it will move left. If the value is positive, it will move right. That's why we don't need axis 2D or vector 2D. We only need float value. That's it. So the other thing we need is if I come to input, and this time input action, this would be for, let's say, brake. So we will check what is actually the value of brake, and then we will go forward. One more input action we need, that is IA for look up and down, and let's add one more for looking right and left. So I can give it a name like look right. There you go. So this one will look right. This is also a float value, and the next thing is steering throttle. I'll close them, and the next thing is look up. This is also a float value. There you go. We have all input actions. For brake also, I think we need float value, but we'll make sure in just a few minutes. So I'll close this one, and then I'll come here. We can add some mappings. First one, that is for let's say started from throttle. So we want W to move forward, and we want S to move backward. So we want S to be the opposite of W. That's why I'll come here to modifiers and I'll add negate. So negate makes it opposite of W. So if the W gives it the positive value, S will make the value negative. And then let's add another mapping. This one would be for, let's say, steering. So steering, we want D to steer right, and we want A to steer left. The same thing, A should be the opposite of D, or we want the negative value for that, so I'll negate this one as well. There we go. I'll add one more. Well, this one would be for, let's say, look up. So we want to look up, and for look up we can search for mouse X. So mouse X, well, it will directly give the value of mouse X, positive and negative. And then the next thing would be the not last one, right. This will, let's come here and search for mouse Y. So mouse Y would be for looking around. And the last thing we want to add is brake. So what would be the brake? So brake space would be for handbrake, but we can select S for brake as well. That's it. I think we have everything here we need for now. And then I'll come here to racing car, and in event crop we can do some things. So the first thing we want to do is we want to set up this IMC, or input mapping context. For that we can do in begin play. So I'll come to begin play. Here we have this begin play event. Let's search for player controller. From player controller we can set this one. So from player controller I can tell him get enhanced input, get enhanced input local player subsystem. That is the one we need. And from here we can come here and tell him add mapping context. So which mapping context we want to add? The one we have right here, which is called racing car. So I'll select racing car for this, and priority could be 0. That's not a big problem. Okay, so now I can come here and delete this. Now I'll come here and search for IA, and let's say we have throttle. There you go. So now from vehicle movement component, vehicle, or I can directly take it from here, and then I'll say set throttle input. That's it. So we want to set throttle input from action value. And if I come here and say while it's completed, I can come here and write set throttle input, and this time it would be 0, like you can see right here. So if it is triggered, the value would be set from the action value, and while it's left, like someone don't push it anymore, it will be stopped, as you can see right here. Then I can come here, and this time I search for IA, and let's say we want steering this time. And if I come here and write set steering, well, like this would be from vehicle movement component, and there you go. The same thing we have to do here. While it's completed, we can come here and write set steering input, and this time it would be 0. There you go. And now what if I come here and write IA input action and look up. For look up, if I come and okay, let's say look up, we have selected mouse Y. Okay, look right is mouse Y and look up is mouse X, and that's right. So I'll come here, and this time I'll search for add controller pitch input, and I'll add controller pitch input like this, and then I'll come here, right, for look around, or I don't know what was that, IA, and look right, and then I can come here and write add controller yaw input from action value. And finally, let's write for IA brake. When someone press brake, we can set for set brake input, and there you go. But there is still a problem. If I save and compile everything, then I come here and play the game, you can see I can look around and I cannot move actually. I'll fix that problem later, but I'm inside the car. That's not what actually we want. We want to have a view like this. So from outside the car, not from inside the car. For that we need a camera, and for camera we need a spring arm component. So I'll come here, and the first thing I want to add is a spring arm component. So the parent of spring arm component should be the mesh component. You can see it right here. And then I can come here and add a camera to spring arm component. Now you can see camera should be a child of spring arm component, and spring arm component should be a child of the mesh component. Now if I come here and bring this a little up like this, and let me make this spring arm component a little bigger, and there you can see I can rotate it a little bit up. And if I come here to the camera, I can actually rotate the camera a little bit like this. And what if we change the field of view of camera to something like 110, so we will have a better view. Now if I come and save everything, let's play the game and look at this. We have very good view, but unfortunately we cannot move around, so this needs a very small fix. If I come here and select the BP car, racing car, like the basic one, and then I can come down and find physics. Well, the problem with this car is now it doesn't have any physics, means don't follow any rules of physics. So how the engine can move it around? So that's why we need to enable some physics for this. If I come here and tell him simulate physics, that's it. That's all we need. We have the default physics for this, and that's it. Now if I compile and save it, and then if I come and play the game, there you can see we can move forward, we can move around, we can move backward, and that's it. That's a very good fix. But there's a problem. The problem is that I cannot still look around. So that is also something needs to be fixed. For looking around, if I come here to spring arm component, here I need to enable something called use pawn control rotation. And if I enable this one, and then if I compile and save everything, now if I run it, you can see I can look around, but there is a little problem moving it around. I think I made a mistake right here. So if I come back to the input mapping, input actions, if I come here and tell them look up, for look up, well, I'll come here to mapping context, and here we have look up, and I'll change this to mouse. I thought it is mouse 6, but I think it is mouse Y. I'm not quite sure about this one, but I'll change this one to mouse X, looking right and left. Now if I save everything, and then if I come here and still I'm not quite sure about it, if I come here and then your input, I'll just multiply this with a negative value, means -1, because it rotates on the opposite side. Now if I play, and you can see it is a little better now. This is still not working very good, so that's why I'll come here and use another approach. That would be better because we will use different ways of fixing this problem. And the second thing would be it is a little better and easier. So to do that, I'll remove this look right. So I'll just tell him force delete, and then I'll come here and change this one from look up to look around. So because we want to use both of them at the same time, but there we have a problem. If I come here to the blueprint, car blueprint, here we have this problem. I think this one, because we don't have this one. So I'll remove this one and this one as well. Now because we deleted and the second one we changed the name, so now everything is good. But this I'll change from 1D or from float value to axis to D or vector to D, so that way we can use X and Y of mouse at the same time. So I'll save this again and let's go to that mapping context. If I come here to input, and there we have this mapping context, and here you can see we don't have this. I can remove this one because this one for look right, we deleted that one, and now we have look around. If I come to look around, here we have mouse Y, but we don't want mouse Y. We actually have this mouse X, Y to D at the same time, which is kind of great. And there is a problem, like this works opposite, so that's why we can add a modifier and negate this. So I'll come here and write negate and add this negate modifier to this, should work opposite. Now if I come here and write IE look around, look at this, we have look around and we have action value. This time it's different value, it's not a float value, it's a different value. Now if I come here and tell him to break vector to D, now you can see we have mouse X and mouse Y. For pitch we need the value of Y, and that's it. And then we can copy this one or this whole thing again and paste it right here, and this time if it's triggered from Y, this time not from Y, from X, we can set the yaw input. So I'll come here and multiply this by a negative value, so it should work perfect. Like we checked last time, it was the opposite again, so this time we'll multiply by -1 and it will work. And that's it. That's the fix we needed. If I save and compile everything, if I run it this time, and we have perfect camera. Last time we had a little problem, but this time we actually don't have that problem. So I'll save everything, and now let's fix the animation problem, because we still have that animation problem. Look at this. If I move around, we don't have any animation for this, for steering, for moving backward or forward. So that's a very big problem. And if I come right here, so let's create an animation blueprint for this. I'll come to blueprints, and then I can right click and add animation blueprint from this, or I can come here to animations, and here we have animation blueprint. So I'll select this vehicle skeleton because that's the only skeleton we have right here. I'll create this one, and I can tell him animation blueprint for racing car. And let's open this one. And here we need to set up some settings. That is very simple settings. The first thing is let's change the parent class of this. So I can come to class settings and change the parent class from anim instance to something vehicle animation instance. And that's the first thing. The second step is we can use something that's called mesh space reference pose, and then I can come here and write well controller, because we want to control well controller for wheeled vehicle, and there you go. Let's connect it right there, and that's how we can compile and save it. And I'll come to racing car, to mesh, and here I can select that animation blueprint racing car. There you go. If I save and compile everything, if I run, and hopefully we will have what we want. And look at this, exactly we have what we want. There is some other problems we will fix in upcoming lectures. I'll show you them, and then we'll talk about it. The first thing is it is actually like the road is not good, like its collision is not good. And the second thing is if I run it again, it rotates too fast. like with a very small collision your car will be rotated. Look at this, there is some problems in the road, so we have to fix all these problems. And if I go like a little, look at that, so still the road is not perfect, we have to fix that. The collision at this road is not that good, like we have some problems in the road, like you can see right here. Look at this, so these are the problems we want to fix. The first thing is I'll just delete this one from here, because the road starts right here, and that's where we will place our car blueprint. So I can rotate it like this. So everything looks pretty good till now. The problem is if I come here and change this view mode from late to something like player collision. Look at this, we don't have any collision for the road. These are the collisions, like when car comes here, these things makes problem. The collision is not perfect. So let's fix this problem. How we can do this? If I select this one, this is the landscape, so let's change the mode to landscape mode. And then if I come here to manage splines, if I come here, we have these splines. Now let's find the mesh. They haven't selected any mesh for that, so control points we have, that's not correct. Let me find the actual mesh. We have it. So to find mesh, I think we don't have it, but let's select this place. Well, now you can see we have this spline meshes right here, and here we have this mesh. So if I come to the mesh and I open this mesh, you can see this is the mesh selected for that now, and this don't have any collision. If I come here and I'll tell him, well, we don't have any collision. Look at this, we don't have any collision to remove even. So that's why I'll add box collision to this one. So if I add a box collision, that is very huge, but we don't want that huge box collision. I'll just resize it and make it small like this. Now you can see we have fixed this problem. If I save this one and I come back, now you can see we have player collision, and that is working pretty good all over. But there is this small problem, that is for the second one. So I'll come here and add a collision to this one as well to fix that problem. I'll come here and tell him add box simplified collision, yep, and then I can change the size like this. For this one I can bring it a little up, maybe, because that's not placed perfectly well. Or I can change this one to 1 maybe, because I want to bring it really slowly. I want to move it from right, and there you go. I can bring it a little down. Now let's check it from front, and I think that is good, not too bad. So everything is all right. I'll save this one. Let's close everything. And if I come here now, you can see we have that one. We have a little small problems, but that is not a big issue. Now if I come back here and change back to the selection mode, we have this perspective mode. I'll change this one back to LED mode, and I'll bring the car a little up and press this End or END key and keyboard to be placed in the right place. Now if I play the game, and as you can see, I'm not controlling the car because we deleted the mesh or the blueprint we were controlling or possessing, so I have to possess this again. I'll select this one, and from details I'll possess this as player 0. If I play the game, and there you go, now everything is working all right. If you think the mesh is too up, you can bring the mesh down just by coming here. The road one, I think this mesh was not placed perfectly well, so I'll come here and remove the current collision mesh. I'll add another box, and then I can make it a real smaller. And from front I want to bring it a little bit down, not that much, a little up. Let's go up, that is too much. So let's bring him a little down back. So now that is perfect. Let's save everything and close it. This time if I run, I think that is a little better, but not much. So let's fix this problem. If I come back to player collision and see what is actually wrong. So yeah, I say the problem is actually not with the collision of the road. This time the problem is with the collision of this car. So I'll come to the car and then let's go to car mesh. Here we have this car mesh. If I open the car mesh, now let's go to physics. You can see there is some kind of problems. We can add some physics settings to this one. So if I select this one, this I think makes the main problems right here. So we have to change a little physics settings, or we can remove all of them. But I think they are working pretty fine. But all I need is to bring them a little up. I'll select them and bring them a little up like this. So now I think they will be fine. So let's save everything, and this time if I run it, they're still very up. And now if I come to the racing car, to these wheels, let's come to wheel setup and come to wheel car class, this wheel class. I'll open this one. Let's change this to 30 and change this one to 60. There is the problem. We wrote wheel radius as 60 while wheel radius is 30 and wheel width is 60. So I'll save this one and then I'll come back to I'll close this one as well, this one as well. We don't need all of them. So now I'll come to the left one as well. Let me open it, and then radius is 30 and width is 60. There we go. If I come here and change this back to lit and play the game again, and you can see we are good to go and play the game. So this is all about this lecture. In this lecture we've done a lot. You can see we fixed the collision problem, and now we have a very good car. Still we have some issues with the car physics, so you can go and change some physics, or you can change the torque curve. It will work fine. And now let's talk about using some actors, that the pickup actors, that if car overlaps into that, then we have some pickups, some numbers, some score that we can store in the database, like racing cars has those, or maybe you can have a plan for that. But the main goal here is how to store the data in a database online, clouds, and then we can take it back. So that's why we need these actors. So the first thing is we need a very basic actor. We'll talk about that in upcoming lectures more, that how we can convert it in a C++ class, but for now we just need a very simple actor. I'll come here and in blueprints I can create a new folder that would be for pickups. So I'll give it a name like pickups, and then I'll open this one, and then I can come here and create a blueprint class based on actor class. So what is an actor class? You can see right here, an actor class is an object that can be placed or spawned in the world. And that's exactly what we need. We want to spawn it into the world. So I'll select this one, and then I can give it a name like BP because it's a blueprint, and pick up base class. So this is base class. We can inherit it to as many classes as we want. So the base class would need some settings. So the first thing base class needs is let's say, we'll talk about that later, but if I come to event grab, and then I'll come here and tell him as begin play, no, not as begin play, event overlap. So for event overlap, I'll add a sphere. So I'll come here, sphere collision. You can see this is the sphere, and then if something overlaps into this sphere, so I'll come here and component begin overlap. So we only need to do two things. to play a sound and destroy this actor. So we will check if other actor is the racing car. So I'll search for BP, the racing car actor. If the overlapping actor is racing car, then we want to play sound to D, not player. Play sound to D, and we can choose any sound for that, but till now we don't have any sound. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. We'll add some sounds, and then I want to destroy the actor. So let's check it if this is working or not. As this sphere collision, it will not be visible because this is only a collision. We can add some static mesh or thing. For now I'll add a static mesh, and this static mesh can be anything. Let's just choose some very simple thing. Let's check what is this thing. So this is what we have right now. So I'll change the size a little bit, maybe like this much. Now you can see we have this mesh. I'll add this mesh to the map like this. Now you can see we have this. If I press J, which means the gaming mode, now this is what we will have on the road. When car overlaps to this actor should be destroyed, but till now we don't have any sound, so that's why it will not play any sound. If I play the game and if I come here, we will car overlaps to it, that actor is destroyed, and that's exactly what we want. So now we need actually some effects, some real effects that should look realistic, and also we need some sound effects. So I'll come here to Epic Games Launcher again, and in the Epic Games Launcher in Marketplace I can search for some effects. So I'll come here and search for basic pickup VFX. So if I come here, not CFX, VFX, and as you can see, these are completely free. You can just add it to the project like this. So I'll come here and add it to the project. We have the project racing car. This is, I think, the one. This is the one we want to add. So I'll add this one to the project, and then I can come here and search for some sound effects. So I'll say interface and item sound pack. So these are the ones we want. I'll open this one and add this one to the project as well. So we have the racing car project. I'll add this one to the project, and it is added. I can close this now, and if I come here, well, we need to import, and they are important. We imported we have them right here. Now if I come here and choose the sound effect as we want, let's say we have many sound effects. Let's check some of them. Maybe not this one. You have many of them. You can select anyone. This one, I think I like this one. So now if I compile and save it, but we have to add some these effects. If I come here to the effects, and then I'll come to Niagara systems, you can see we have this. I can select this one, and if I come here, this is a Niagara system. So I'll come here to the base class. Instead of this static mesh, we actually don't need static mesh. I can add that Niagara system. I'll search for Niagara particle system component, and there you go. It's selected by default because I selected it right here. So for the base class, we actually don't need to select anything because we need child classes for this. Well, I think that's good. So now if I save everything and come here, I can make a child class of this base class. So we need one or two or many of them. So I'll come here and create a new folder. I can give it a name like speed pickup, and then I can come here and create a child class for this BP speed, and then I'll place it right there. We need one more, that would be, let's say, for coins. So I can give it a name like coins pick, and then I can create one more, create blueprint child. This would be BP coins, and then I can add it to the coins, move it to that folder. So now if I open this one for coins, I just want to select something, this one maybe, yeah, I think this one. So this is for coins, and then if I come here to the class default class defaults, well, we don't have those variables. I'll add that to the variable. If I come to the base class, we need this sound to be a variable. So if I come here, promote it to variable and sound variable. That's it. If I compile it and come here, now we have this sound effect. We need some, this is a good sound effect because this is a coin. So I'll save this one, and then I'll come here to this speed pickup. I'll select if we have any other sound for speed, maybe. No, we don't have it, so we can just select one which looks a little better. Not click. Maybe this one. So now, and for Niagara, I can select this energy pickup. There you go. If I play the game this time, well, we don't have anything actually. I'll stop it again, and this time I can come to the folder. I'll add the speed right here, and then I can come to the coins. I can add these coins to this place. Now if I come and play the game, and if when I reach the speed, look, that is destroyed. Now if I come to these coins, that is destroyed as well, and we have the sound. Well, that looks pretty good, I think. If I come to the those effects we have added, if I come here, you can see we have some cool effects for destruction. If I come here to this energy, look at this. If I destroy now these classes, there's nothing left, like it destroys without any effect. What if we add these effects as destruction effects? That would be cool. So to do so, I'll come here to pick up base class, and after playing the sound before destroying the actor, I can do something actually. I can come to variables and add a new variable. Let's say destroy effect maybe, and then I can come here and write, this would be Niagara system, like this system object reference, and then I can come here and get this one. I'll say spawn system at location. So at which location we want to spawn this before destroying the actor, we want to spawn this in actor location. So I can come here and tell them get actor location, and this is the location we want. And then I can come here and tell them get actor rotation. We can add it to rotation, and at the same time get actor scale 3D, and then I can add this to the scale, and that's it. I think that's all we need. Now if I compile and save it, if I come to coins, we have this destroy effect. I can select like any one of them, maybe which one you like. If I come and play, I think this is a good one, so I'll add that one to the coins, and I can add one to speed as well. So which one? If I come here and play one of them, maybe this one, or maybe the first one. No, the second one is good, I think. So I'll select the second one and compile, save everything. This time if I come and play, you can see where it destroys, we have that effect. So that looks really good. So this was a very quick lecture about how you can add these systems, this Niagara system as a destroy effector. You can use it as any effect you want, because Niagara gives you the power to make effects in Unreal Engine. A very powerful effects system, and this is the way you can use it anywhere, anytime you want. That's all about this lecture. I'll see you in the next one.